trying to figure out this morning before the program, so maybe somebody can tune me in. But a lot of SEC teams, 7 teams, 3 host teams are already out. Not a good showing for the Southeastern Conference in college baseball. A lot of upsets, a lot of drama throughout the country. Let's go to the Titan Tomorrow hotline, courtesy of Comfort Temp. JC, good morning. You're on the Titan Tomorrow hotline.
So I don't know where to start. I'll start with baseball. I think listening to the Coastal Carolina coach in the press room complain about Kevin O'Sullivan, and what he was saying was that, well, he was defending his associate AD, the people that were setting up the regional, that were organizing the game when it was played, those kinds of things. And he was very upset with Kevin O'Sullivan, very disappointed in his words. And so that just kind of was the undertone of the way it went for Florida pitching in this regional, with the exception of course, Aiden King, who I think's got a bright future. You know, we've got to see him at least 2 more years here at Florida, and this is our best pitcher. This is Florida's best pitcher right now, as far as I'm concerned. He really was the only guy that showed up pitching wise for Florida in my mind, and they just took a bath. East Carolina dominated them. So when you look at it, you just got to say, I don't know what kind of grade. Well, I do know what kind of grade I would give them for the season, but this is not the way you wanted to go out. I mean, if they were playing today to try to win the regional to advance to a super regional, I could live with that a little bit. But to lose 2 straight to East Carolina in the fashion that they did, just getting bombed, was just not what I expected to see, bro.
Yeah, I mean, the Gators aren't the only. I mean, I look at it this way. I try to keep an open mind. Obviously, I want Florida to win. Florida, in my opinion, wasn't a very good baseball team this year, right? I mean, I think everyone can say that. They had to battle back. They made a great run to get to 500. Well, the number 1 overall seed is out.
So is number 2.
Number 2 is out.
Yeah.
So, look, only one team is going to be happy when the season's over, and
That's
it's
right.
whoever your national champ is.
Yeah.
And look, they got way too many injuries. I didn't get to see either one of the games, but I didn't think they would move out of this regional personally, because I knew Carolina was pretty good.
I thought they were.
I was told.
Oh, well, I thought they were. I mean, the way they were playing, I thought going in that they could beat these teams. I thought the regional looked pretty good when the seedings came out, but I didn't know anything about Coastal Carolina. We learned about them during the week QB, but the SEC as a whole has only got 2 teams right now that are advanced to the super regional. There are 4 SEC teams playing: Oklahoma, Mississippi, Tennessee, and LSU. Those are the only 4 that have a chance to move on with Auburn and Arkansas, unless I'm forgetting somebody. I think that's it, man. I'm surprised by that.
Yeah, LSU has to. They're playing a 4 seed.
The Rock. Hey, and look at what Wright State, a 4 seed, did to the mighty Commodores.
Well, they should have won game 1. Quite honestly, they had a no-hitter going, and the coach took the kid out after 6 innings.
That's right.
So it's college baseball is crazy, man. I think there's a lot of parity out there.
Yeah.
And just because you come from a big name school does not mean that the little boys can't kick your butt. And that has happened over and over. So that comes to the end. Softball was very disappointing.
Oh, man.
Rothrock had blister issues, so they didn't start her. But look, I'm good friends with Tim Walton. Take the friendship out of it. The morons that want him fired.
Who's that?
Dude, it's all over Twitter. I had to quit. It just all these things. Here's what I would like to tell these people, because some of these people have never coached or played anything in their life.
What are you looking at?
Okay. The greatest Gator of all time got sick and tired of these morons, because if you don't win a championship, it's like, oh, he can't coach. We need to make a change. Remember, only one team is going to be happy when the season ends in every sport, right?
Yeah, I mean, look, he's a back-to-back World Series champion.
He's been in the World Series 13 out of 20 years.
Right.
Now, have they won? They've played for it, I think. They won it twice. I think they've played for it 5 times, if I'm not mistaken.
I don't even.
It's so dumb.
I wouldn't even read those things. Look, the school.
I don't read them, JC. When I'm just scrolling through Twitter, somehow all this stuff pops up on my thing, and I just want to. I want to reply to them, but I'm not doing it.
You can block. You get that.
No. I mean, I can't block them. I don't know why they're popping up on my thing because I only
I don't either.
select certain things I look at. So
Well,
anyway, I just
listen,
think it's
I
ridiculous.
mean, think about this. The school that's won the most College World Series in history is UCLA, and their coach currently has only got 2 World Series championships. They've got, I don't know, what, 13, 14, 15. This woman has only won twice. They're not going to run her out of town in Los Angeles. That's asinine. But it is disappointing. I mean, I'm sure he's probably more upset than anybody with the way it went for them up there. They get used to going to Oklahoma City, man. That's part of their life, the Walton family, and so going to Oklahoma City that's just like a rite of passage, right? That's what you expect over there, and that's what usually happens. And getting an early exit is not what you expect. So it didn't go that way. Well, it didn't go well for either team. So yeah, and frankly, the SEC in baseball is not having a great run, but in softball, you got 3 of the 4 that are trying to win a championship. You got Tennessee, Texas, and Oklahoma. And I'd love to see Texas Tech beat Oklahoma, but I mean, do I really think it's going to happen? No, but I'm hoping it does. I mean, they've got one player that can carry a team to a championship. So that player from Kansas who went to Stanford, who ended up at Texas Tech because the Maverick Club, the NIL of the Texas Tech Red Raiders, decided to, I think it's called the Maverick Club, the Matador Club. The Matador Club paid this girl $1 million to come to Texas Tech from Stanford, and she could win a championship for that school. And then you ask yourself, well, is that worth it? Some will say absolutely, hell yeah, and some will say it's absurd. But they have a shot, man. And this player is the kind of player that can beat Oklahoma, and they're going to need her to be here very fast.
I just don't know if they can score.
I don't either. And Oklahoma's pitching is good. It's not as great as it's been, but Oklahoma's Oklahoma, man, and they're playing in their hometown. And then Tennessee and Texas, I'm really, really proud of the way Tennessee answered that 2-run homer by the UCLA batter who missed home plate. I'm sure people may have seen that, but they gave it to her. That tied the game. And then 5-4, Tennessee wins. They've got a real stud at pitcher. So Texas is unbelievable. They haven't lost yet. So this is going to be a great Final Four in softball, dude.
Yeah, for sure. All right, this text on the Titan Mark text line from Frank in Chicago says, according to Vegas odds, there are 4 teams ahead of us that are favorites to win the basketball national title. Can someone please explain what is better about Purdue, Duke, Houston, and Connecticut? Seems like we have practically the strongest team imaginable. All I can say is, Frank, don't worry about it right now.
That's a little bit down the road, Frank. Thanks for chiming in, but man, that might be down here, right?
Yeah, I wouldn't worry about. I think people get so upset. Gator fans, not just Gator fans, I think it's every fan base. Like when your team is preseason picked, whatever, right? Or John Cornell is not the preseason all SEC left tackle.
Ridiculous.
They get so upset about it.
So upset.
Let it play out.
I'm just trying to figure out, honestly, God, I'm trying to figure out which football games I want to attend this year.
Well, you got time. You got time, JC.
I know.
We're talking about that today.
I know.
This is Tommy in Savannah on the Titan Mark text line. Says, according to ESPN.com, Cags is being called up. Yes, yeah, Cags is being called up to the Royals. He deserves it.
Jeffrey Allen Caglione. This guy, all he did was hit home runs in AAA, and it's exciting for Kansas City fans. They're going to love that guy.
Okay, here's an upset Gator fan texting the Titan Mark text line. Miserable weekend for the Gators. Both ball clubs need to be retooled. If Sully and Tim don't improve the teams, there could be noise in the system soon. I don't see that at all.
Well, I'd like
you just went to the damn College World Series for the 13th time in 20 years.
Yeah, I mean, I think injuries had a lot to do with these 2 teams this year. But to get to the College World Series,
it's so damn hard. Think about how hard it is. Okay, we're sitting here hoping that the baseball team can make a run. They didn't even get out of the first week.
Yeah, lost to the same team twice that had I think a record 8 games above 500 going in, and we're not in either game. So anyway,
Daryl says on the Titan Mark text line, we made mistakes yesterday worse than my grandson's travel team. Why in the hell is Brody Donay swinging at a 3-0 pitch with runners on? He wasn't supposed to. I did see that. With all the injuries this year, at least we made a regional. Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't see the game, but I saw
Yeah,
Um,
lots of
yeah.
lots of injuries, dude. I mean, that's not my excuse, although it is a reason for the team being different. There's no question about it, but it's not. It shouldn't be used as the reason. Well, I don't know. Listen, they just lost to the same team twice. It was better. That's all. I'll just leave it at that. I mean, it is what it is. It's over. Is what it is. So they're gone summer camp, and you can look at this now and root for other SEC teams or just turn it off? What do you tend to do, QB? I tend to root for the other SEC teams.
Well, I watch a little bit, but I'll be honest with you, I was so busy all weekend that, I'd turn on a softball, watch a little bit of that, flip over to one of the baseball regionals. I mean, the way the Georgia Bulldogs lost was just classic. Um,
It really was. We watched that and Oklahoma State with 4 runs in the ninth, 2 2-run homers. Georgia was shocked. And I'm just shocked at the way the SEC performed this weekend. Some of the top seeded teams. I did not, this is the first time since 1999, 26 freaking years ago, that the top 2 seeds did not make it to a super regional in baseball.
yeah. Did you happen to, I talked about there was so much drama and controversy throughout college baseball. Did you see how, so Oklahoma State upset Georgia. Then they had to play Duke to see who went to the super regional.
Yeah.
Did you see how that game ended, JC?
Yeah, Duke pulled it out in the 8th.
No, 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 no.
Which game are you talking about?
That game, but Oklahoma State, the double first base now.
Oh,
When you
yeah,
run to first, you run to first, you have to, it's a new rule.
Yeah, the green
Duke went to tag the guy because he kind of slightly made a turn, went back.
Uh-huh.
They reviewed it,
and
and
called
then
him
ended
out.
the game.
Yeah, called him out. Yeah.
Duke moved on. So what I'm saying is that there's all kinds of controversy all over. I thought it was great.
Well, the worst call in my entire life, and I'm not being hyperbolic here at all. I'm not being hyperbolic. But the worst baseball call I've ever seen was when the Oregon player running home was called out for being too aggressive. No. The catcher was in the baseline, didn't have the ball. The Oregon player is running full steam ahead to get to the plate as fast as he could, and there was a collision. And
are we talking softball or baseball?
Baseball.
I saw that. That was he ran over the damn catcher.
Worst call though I've ever seen. There were 2 things that were wrong about that call that the NCAA has to address. The catcher did not have possession of the ball, therefore he has no right to be in the middle of the baseline. That's 1. 2, what's probably the worst rule of all is that kid was ineligible to play in the next game because they threw him because he was ejected in this game, and he had less than half a second to decide what to do as he's running as fast as he can to the plate, which is what you are supposed to do. Oh, well, you should have slid 10 and a half, 15 feet before the play. No, wrong. The catch, that was the worst call I've ever seen in baseball. That was so wrong. And if those umpires, there won't be any accountability, but those umpires absolutely missed that and blew it and then reviewed it and missed it again. So that's like telling 2 lies. You lie once, okay, and then you lie about the cover-up. That's worse. Yeah. So that was horrible. And that can't happen in baseball's postseason. The NCAA has
to. The rule I hate in softball is the obstruction rule, which changed a lot of games in the World Series the other day.
Okay, ridiculous. Well, I mean, that sounds ridiculous too. But
JC, it's like if it was a rundown from home, they had a girl in a rundown from home to third.
Yeah.
The catcher throws it to the third baseman, and she literally she has to kind of put her body to catch the ball in front of the bag to tag the girl out. They call obstruction safe. And they went on to score, and I think that was the deciding run. I can't remember the scenario, but it's a bad
going back to third. I don't know, man. It's usually when you're in a hot box, you always want to get the ball to the advanced base so that player can push the runner back the other way. And if the third baseman caught the ball and tagged the runner out,
but in softball you can't
get in the way of the runner.
Quote, block any bases. Like a catcher cannot be in front of the home plate when they're coming to slide in softball.
Right. And in baseball, unless the catcher has the ball in his glove or in his other hand, you can't do that either. And that's exactly what happened against Oregon. And that changed that entire game because the Ducks were going to make it 6-5 and maybe even win that game. They ended up losing their regional at home. A lot of teams that played at home this weekend lost, and there's more chances for that to happen tonight. My Beavers, who, still have the Pac-12 logo behind home plate, QB. I think that's hilarious, as they are one of two teams left that got dumped by all these other teams that went to the Big Ten and the Big 12. They are playing Southern California. They're playing at home tonight at 6 o'clock, along with Mississippi, who are playing the Racers of Murray State. You can get the Racers with 4.5 runs.
Could you imagine if Murray State, Arkansas, Little Rock?
Yes.
Who else?
Wake Forest and.
We saw what the Roadrunners did to the Mighty Longhorns.
Oh, San Antonio with the pitching. Unbelievable pitching for San Antonio. The University of Texas at San Antonio. It's the same school system, but the real baseball powerhouse is not in Austin. It's in San Antonio. Who would have known that, right? So Mississippi at 6 o'clock, Oregon at 6 o'clock, Oklahoma and North Carolina, a team that I picked to move on, at 3 o'clock. And then at 9 o'clock, we got Little Rock, the Trojans, who look, same colors, same nickname as Troy, but they are Little Rock. And so the Trojans at 9 o'clock at LSU. My God, all the friends that we know from LSU and Baton Rouge, QB, think about those guys if they lose to Little Rock. I am buying a Little Rock hat when I go back to Mississippi next year for those boys. They'll hate me. And then how about Southern Miss losing the first game in their regional and going straight to the losers bracket, which of course means you have to win 4 games in a row to advance. They have now won 3, and they want to take Miami out. I'm really rooting for the Golden Eagles, because if they win, they will host a super region. I think that's right. But they're playing Miami, and everybody in America outside of Coral Gables is rooting for Southern Miss, dude.
Real quick, got to give a shout out. This has never happened in college baseball. LSU Shreveport, the Pilots.
Okay.
You know what they did, JC?
What did they did?
They went 59-0. It's never happened in baseball.
Okay.
They won the NAIA National Championship, the winningest season in baseball history.
I'd like to see how they would match up with some of these teams in the first division, but that's unbelievable.
Well, I don't know if they ever played any of them, like probably not NAIA.
That's never happened before, right? That's just something.
No, it's the winningest season in baseball history. Wow. I don't care what level of baseball you're playing, to go 59-0 is incredible.
That's exactly right.
All right, so Russell says on YouTube, brought to you by Quality Plum, good morning, fellas, go Gators. Would you guys trade the basketball championship for 3 championships in any combo of men's golf, women's golf, lacrosse, baseball, and softball?
No.
I would not. No.
I would not. There's 2 sports that carry the water for the entire athletic department, and one much more so than the other, but the other is important nationally and in any other way you look at it as far as attention goes, and that's basketball. Basketball is massive. It's huge. It's huge. In some cases, basketball is the only identity so some schools have. If Florida can win championships in both sports, they've won 3 in both sports. That's your identity right there, as far as I'm concerned. Now, I love the other sports. I love golf and the other ones, but those do not identify the school the way basketball and football do.
Andy asked on Facebook Live, brought to you by Mel, do we know what the big football event was at Spurrier Saturday night? I don't know if it was an event. It was a big weekend for high school recruiting.
Recruits. Yeah.
Which we'll talk about in a couple of weeks when we find out what all happened. Electronics World, integration, design, special smart home automation and entertainment, affordable local installation, service, and support. Check them out, electronicsworld.net. All right, JC. Before we move on back to college baseball, this text from Jimmy wants to know, how were JC's upset picks in college baseball?
Thanks for asking, Jimmy. How about 1-5?
JC, that's not good.
No, well, they're all bad dogs. Irvine lost by 1 run, but Fresno got bombed. Nebraska got bombed. Rhode Island and East Carolina. Well, no, I didn't have East Carolina, but Rhode Island got bombed. Now, so 1-4.
I think you had
Creighton was my winner.
Creighton Blue Jays.
Creighton Blue Jays was my winner on the upsets. So that was a money loser. Over the weekend, Indiana 4-2 over the Knicks, lost the Knicks bet, won the over 5.5, and won the Indiana series 4-2. And then had some dogs yesterday getting 4.5 runs in baseball. Little Rock was one of them. Wright State was another one at even money. Those were the easiest bets I've made in my life, basically. They won the games. Should have took the money line. Should have taken the money line. But tonight, going to look at some of these games. USC threw a freshman yesterday. I don't think they really intended to beat Oregon State, but Oregon State at home is tough. I still like North Carolina. I'm sorry. The problem with baseball is these money line sides are so high. The price is so expensive. You're really risking a lot to win some. So you got to look for some other run lines perhaps. And then the totals in most of these games are going way over. And these scores are high. West Virginia and Kentucky yesterday scored 25 runs. And that was just one of many games that got into those very high numbers. And so today I think we're going to have a little bit better pitchers, maybe guys that threw. I mean, it's by committee today, and some of the guys that may have thrown the first game for these teams before the weekend may get to see the hill today, and that may keep the scores lower because yesterday a lot of pitching staffs were stretched for some of these teams. USC, I just mentioned, threw a freshman. He had no chance against Oregon State.
Shane says on Facebook Live, brought to you by Mel. Shane, there are plenty of us softball fans that praise Walton on the sites too. It was very clear and almost always in women's sports. The gap between the top 3 teams and the rest of the top 10 is enormous. Yes and no, but I think there's more parity in softball now than there ever has been.
Oh, there's no doubt about it. But Oklahoma still that's the standard bearer, and until someone knocks them off, they own the sport.
Yeah, and Dan looked this up for me. Yeah, they won the national title in 2014, 2015 back to back, but they lost the championship series in 09, 11, and 17.
I'm looking at these games today, QB. North Carolina's at minus 250. Ole Miss is minus 350. Tennessee is minus 325. Oregon State's minus 210. And Southern Miss is almost a 2-1 favorite. So at some point, you got to say that all these favorites aren't going to cover. And who's going to pay those prices? So that's tough to bet on today. So I'm looking at that. Maybe looking at.
Well, those teams are all the better teams, and
doesn't mean they're going to
win. The other team does not have the pitching to hold up to many games.
You can parlay these numbers. I mean, if you do a minus 250 and a minus 350 parlay, you're still laying $1.25. So that's still 25 cents. And that's tough. I mean, you got to win both and you're laying juice. Also over the weekend, QB, we had the NBA Eastern Conference Finals end with Indiana. So now you get Oklahoma City and the Indiana Pacers, the Midwestern type showdown. What do you think the TV execs are thinking right now?
I don't know, but I'm excited to watch it.
I think it's going to be great if you care about fast-paced basketball and not watching a bunch of old dudes run up and down the court and then seeing the same stuff.
Well, here's the beauty of this series
but
it's kind of the future of the NBA, quite honestly. You got you got the MVP, you got probably the youngest team in OKC.
Yeah.
And the Pacers are very young.
They're very young. Yeah.
I think it's two good basketball teams.
Right. It's going to be fun to watch. In the NHL with Florida and Edmonton in a rematch from last year's Stanley Cup that starts Wednesday in Canada. So it's USA and Canada. Remember the passion that we saw in the four country tournament during the All-Star break, and all the viewers that watched USA and Canada. We kind of get that again now, even though most of the players are all Canadian. You still have Florida being represented. This is third straight Stanley Cup Finals for that franchise. Vinny Viola is your owner down there. Who doesn't want Vinny Viola to go back to back? I mean, come on. We got to root for the Florida Panthers to beat those Edmonton Oilers. And then in baseball, I have a bet that I had a friend that goes to Las Vegas, and they have these bets in certain books. At wherever you shop, you can get these bets of most wins during the month. And in the month of June, I've got 3 teams that I took looking at their schedules and the number of games they play in the month of June at plus odds to win the most games. Those 3 teams include, and we can keep up with them through the month, but already they're 1-0, all 3 of them. That would be your Detroit Tigers, the Fighting Tigers. Those Tigers are only getting 5-1 odds, but that's good enough. They play a lot of games against a lot of really bad teams, White Sox and so on, Pirates. And then you've got the San Francisco Giants. They play the Marlins a bunch of times. I took them at 22-1. The San Francisco Giants 22-1 to win the most games in May. or June rather. And then the Yankees 5-1. They beat the Dodgers last night. They're 1-0. Go Yankees.
You didn't want to bet on the Colorado Rockies?
Yeah, that team has the worst record in the modern era. 9 wins to this point in June is the worst start in the modern baseball era.
I saw something on Twitter. I should have screenshot it. It was like in the last 20 days, Scotty Scheffler has more golf wins than they do baseball wins or something.
It's absurd. Scotty Scheffler goes off on every tournament he plays at basically a 2 to 3 to 1 favorite, and the next guy is 10 times worse on his number to come in to win it. The U.S. Open is going to be unreal. And what we saw at the Memorial, do we have time to talk about this, or are you going to take it?
Absolutely, we do, because we're going to get to it because
your guy did great.
I had 2 guys finish in the top 5.
Yes, your guy, Ben Griffin. God bless Ben Griffin.
And Russell Henley, top 5.
Yeah, that's right. Very good. That would have won you some money this weekend. Top 5s are great. That's the next best number after winning it. But the Memorial is the closest tournament, I think, probably to this point that we will see conditions-wise related to the U.S. Open, meaning very high punitive grass, tight driving lanes, and very fast slopey greens. And man, if the weather stays dry in Pittsburgh at Oakmont in 2 weeks, good heavens, that's going to be so much fun to watch. I can't wait. Father's Day is June the 15th, folks, and on June the 15th we get the final round of the U.S. Open. I know a lot of fathers who are going to be dialed in. You got 2 of them right here that are going to be watching the final round of the U.S. Open. Hopefully it'll be competitive and close, and Scotty won't be too far ahead of everybody. But he is a natural pick to win that because of how he hits the ball off the tee and his putter. It's like a machine out there. We're seeing the next Tiger Woods type of player, the guy that just makes you try to be aggressive. It forces you to make mistakes because you have to catch up to him because he won't mess up. He doesn't bogey anything. He made bogey 1 hole in 2 days. And when you got a player that consistent, you start thinking, I got to do something special to catch him. And God bless Ben Griffin for eagling number 16 yesterday and making it a 2-stroke spread until he got to 17 and double bogey. But he still finished in the last 2 weeks first and second for a guy that was selling paper and mortgages. And to finish first and second, to basically change his life, get into the U.S. Open, get into all of the great events going forward, to have a 2.5 year exemption on tour now. Oh man, I love it for Ben Griffin, and I love the way he played yesterday. He really has a lot of talent. It's amazing that this guy hasn't come. We haven't seen him before now. I think he's got a lot of talent.
He's very good. Asa says on Facebook Live, brought to you by Mellon Law, we know it's disappointing that both the women's softball and men's baseball teams were eliminated, but we have to remember that both had injuries this year, and most of all, we got there. We got to play. Think how many teams sat at home with losing records or mediocre records. So I have to give great props to both the Lady Gators and men's baseball teams. Congratulations on a great year.
Injuries suck, man.
Look,
you're right.
Mark Wise does a show with Steve Russell. I think it's called Hoop There It Is or something like that, podcast.
Okay.
And people always, obviously this year they didn't call and complain, but they always complain when the Gators get knocked out in the first round or second round or whatever. It's so hard to make it to the tournament, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't think people realize how hard it is to get to Oklahoma City.
Yeah.
That is the goal of every softball team at the beginning of the year. Get to OKC. Same with baseball. Get to Omaha.
Only 8 go.
Correct. And think about not only the Gator baseball team losing, but the number 1 overall seed is gone. The number 2 overall seed is gone. Their season ended exactly like ours, and we weren't even one of those seeds.
Incredible.
So I think people don't want to think about that. They want their team to win everything. I get that. It ain't going to happen.
And if you're an Oklahoma State Cowboy fan, you're thinking about that big comeback win against Georgia. You know what? Those players are at the same summer camp as the Bulldog players are right now, because that Duke Blue Devils went 3-0 or 4-0, I guess, and won that regional easily. I'm really curious to see, without some of these top seeds winning, who gets to host the next super regionals. That's going to be kind of fun for me. I know there's a way, probably should already know it, but don't, because there's still 4 games to play tonight. You usually look at Monday as being a day where in the regionals, you're always going to have a game or two or three that are going to be played because of, the simple fact that somebody hasn't lost twice yet. Well, that's going to be something really fun to watch tonight.
Are they all night games, Jason?
No, you got a 3:00 game with North Carolina and OU, but then you got two 6 p.m. games, and then the last one is in Hattiesburg between Miami and Southern Miss at 9:00. So you got, LSU and Little Rock and the Southern Miss game with Miami are at 9:00. The Murray State Ole Miss game and the Wake Forest Tennessee game and the Southern Cal Oregon State game are at 6, which is 3:00 local out in Corvallis. And then North Carolina and Oklahoma. Can they hold back the Tar Heels and get the SEC another team to move on? We'll see. North Carolina has two of the best starting pitchers in
They
America.
have the best uniforms in all of baseball.
And those pinstripes yesterday, that was so hot. It's Carolina across the
front. Yeah, the baby blue uniform.
Yeah, it was. I was thinking that. I was thinking that you were seeing that as well, and I was thinking, man, he's loving this right now because I did. I loved it.
They have a lot of different combinations, and you can't go wrong with their uniforms for sure. All right, text here on the Titan MR text line. This is from Larry. He says, JC, are there any odds on Cags doing anything in Major League Baseball?
Well, I don't know
what he means by that.
Well, Larry's just excited about Jeffrey Allen, Caglione, and I think Jack's been it's been known that he was going to get called up probably right about now after AAA, and this guy's going to light it up for Kansas City. They're going to love him up there. They're going to love him. He's just a superior, physical, and highly talented athlete. And this guy's going to have a long career if he stays healthy. I really like his chances.
Yeah, he was blessed with
everything,
bat speed,
everything. He was blessed with everything.
And he's just a strong individual.
Oh my God, he's very strong. And Kansas City got a great pick. Good for them. Yeah, Wyatt Langford, same. He's been very happy in Texas. I think for the most part they love him there. I mean, he hits third or fourth in their lineup at Texas, and he's only in his second year. So two former Gators really having quite a say in their careers so far, and Jack's just getting started. So
Greg says on YouTube, brought to you by Quality Plumbing, 8 teams go to OKC. Yeah, but just tell Gator fans that getting there is our goal, not winning it.
Okay. No, that's not what he meant. That's not
people. They don't understand the process.
That's not what you meant. Is what I'm saying.
No. Yeah. Everybody wants to win the national title, but you have no chance of winning the national title if you don't go to Oklahoma City or if you don't go to Oklahoma.
That's right.
Again, let me just reiterate: the greatest Gator of all time hauled ass because of moronic comments.
That's not.
I didn't mean it like just comments, but winning 10 games wasn't enough.
I can tell you though, there was for a fact that there was a curiosity and a fascination with maybe giving the pros a try, but 99% of it, 90 some odd percent of it was just an absolute. He's just tired of it here at the UF. But he loves his school. Obviously, he's the best ambassador they could ever have here. He's got his name on a restaurant down here. He does all he can to promote and forward the Florida cause. I mean, he is who he is. He's 80 years old too.
Right. But I'm just saying, be careful what you wish for.
Well, I don't think Tim, I mean, look, he's raised his family here. This is home.
I know that, but JC, I'm just telling people, remember, we are trying to win every sport, every national championship. It does not happen.
Now, look, if you can get one national championship in any sport during the course of a sports year, you've had a great year. They got that. And in fact, they got it in basketball, one of the two biggest sports. And then maybe something else that I'm missing, maybe some track and field team or something like that. They could have won it in lacrosse. So it's been a good year for Strickland and the athletic department as far as I'm concerned. I mean, volleyball was good. Golf, the women's golf team came out of nowhere to be competitive. The men's golf team goes to the Final Four. Mm-hmm. They just had maybe one of their worst rounds in their last match.
And it will eat at. I mean, I played with Coach Deacon this weekend, and he's just
pissed.
He wishes he would have done this or done that. I mean, that's what you do when you don't win it. So,
but they got to the Final Four. I mean,
which is hard.
And they played a great team. And look, they are a great team. As far as I'm concerned, you get to that level at the end of the year, you can say you're pretty damn great.
Zach's question on YouTube right about Quality Plumbing. Do you think Spurrier wish he would have stayed if he could go back? I would say absolutely.
If he could have stayed, what?
No, if he could do it all over again, would he have left to go test the NFL? I say he wishes, in hindsight, if he would have stayed here at Florida, what I'm saying.
Mhm.
I personally say yes.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, he's never told me that, but
He loves it here. This is
well, I know that, but I mean, he was here for 12 years, had it rolling,
rolling.
and if he doesn't leave, we probably never. I mean, he could
Yeah.
have been the coach till he was 70, 65, 70.
Absolutely. He could have. We may not have had Tim Tebow here, though. We may not have had a lot of players here.
We would not. We probably wouldn't have. You're right.
Would not have had.
But we would have had some. We would still had some good ones.
Oh, I'm sure that we would have had a guy that we don't know about that would have come here and been great as well. Maybe. I mean, Tim Tebow seemed to be almost larger than life in a way, but may still be for Florida fans. But it all worked out great, folks. You won 3 natties. Okay, you got 2 of them in almost back-to-back years in football, which is absurd, and you got 2 of them back-to-back in basketball. That is crazy as well with Billy Donovan. So I mean, Florida fans have a lot to be proud of. It's been, I think, the problem has been so long since 2008 for the Gator football team. When you think about it, winning the SEC is a big deal. It always has been. Spurrier made it that way for Florida. That was a different generation. But when you think about 2008, that is a hell of a long time ago. And Florida has to get back to that before I think we're going to see truly happy Gator football fans of different generations. And, us old guys, Shane, we got a lot to be happy for and happy about, because in our lifetime, we've seen more championships, and you were part of one. And we've seen more championships than most people's generations have been able to see, because the last 17 some odd years have been pretty miserable football-wise.
So Bob here on the Titan Mart text line says, maybe we should take the NIL money for softball and baseball and give it all to Todd Golden. He seems to know what he's doing.
They gave him a lot of money. They did.
Yeah.
NIL-wise, I think they're fine. Look at this starting 5 you're going to have. The 2 guards are 2 guys that did not play here last year. You're going to fall in love with Flan and Lee. I think you're going to really enjoy them. But again, we've got that in the back. All right, we've got to think about football coming here in less than 100 days. Think about that, QB. That's where you start getting your little calendar and you start crossing off little boxes. Some people don't have paper calendars. I've got them everywhere. And I start going like this with them. I start crossing off little boxes. That's another day closer, even on the weekends.
All right, this day in sports brought to you by Campus USA Credit Union. We're a proud member, Steve Spurrier Banks.
That's right.
I laugh every time I read that. 1987, the Seattle Mariners had a pretty good draft pick as number 1. Do you know who that was, JC?
Would it be Ken Griffey Jr.?
Ken Griffey Jr.
Yeah, that guy.
This day.
Oh, my God. See something. He was something.
That swing was beautiful.
Played in the Kingdom. And I tell you right now, Juan Soto's probably made 3 times as much money as Ken Griffey Jr. and couldn't hold Ken Griffey Jr.'s water. Okay? He's nowhere near the player that Ken Griffey Jr. was. But he's making, I think the Mets signed him for over $700 million.
Who?
Juan Soto.
Oh, Juan Soto.
$750 million. He couldn't hold Ken Griffey's cleats.
No.
But that's the way it is in today's world. That's just the way it is.
All right, JC. Good stuff as always.
Yeah, good
Your
day.
Peachland Dental college baseball game, regional
this is
do or die games. Who do you have again?
I mean, okay, so if you want me to just tell you who's going to win, that's one thing. But
just tell us who's going to win the game.
Okay, well, today
you think all the favorites are going to win?
Not all of them. I think the one dog that could end up winning is I think Miami could beat Southern Miss. I don't want that to happen. And, man, I will laugh like hell if Little Rock somehow beats LSU. They are the home team tonight, by the way, the Trojans.
Little Rock is?
They're the home team tonight. They're on the bottom of the thing. But Southern Miss, Miami, I'm rooting for the Eagles. I think Oregon State's going to finish off USC, but USC's not bad. I think Tennessee will beat Wake Forest. I'm rooting for Mississippi just because I'd like to see another SEC team in. And I think North Carolina at home. They're going to be the visiting team against Oklahoma somehow.
That's another dumb rule.
Doesn't make sense to me.
If you're hosting, you're hosting for a reason.
Yes, you got to be the home team.
So you should always be the home team.
I mean, the way it looks here is that they are on the top. So that tells me they are the first at bat. So I'll go with that. If it's wrong, then
JC, who plays in softball tonight?
Hard Rock Software. Softball tonight, you've got Texas Tech and Oklahoma, Tennessee and Texas. I'm going to take Tennessee and I'm going to take Oklahoma, but I'm rooting for Texas Tech and Texas.
Who are the only teams that haven't lost?
The only I don't think
Texas has not lost, and who?
And Tech.
The Red Raiders.
The two Texas teams have not lost, so that means OU and Tennessee have to win twice, and that could happen and draw.
Speaking of, before we let you go, real quick, I don't know. This is the first year of Texas Tech's coach. I forgot his name.
Yeah, he's a cool guy.
He came from Louisiana. And he came from some small schools. But do you know that he brings their pitching machines to every game? No matter they played in Tallahassee a couple weeks ago in one of the super regionals or regionals. He personally, the team flew. He put the pitching machines in his truck and drove to Tallahassee.
How can you not root for them, man?
How can you not just rent pitching machines at the site that you're going to?
You know how coaches are, QB. They're very superstitious.
I just think that's a great story.
That is a great story, and this is his first. Is this his first year at Tech?
Yes, first year there.
All right. Well, I'm damn sure pulling for them to beat Patty Gasso and OU. Although I have the highest respect for that school and that coach, but I'd like to see Texas Tech and maybe Texas. I don't know. Or Tennessee. I can.
Zach says Little Rock was the home team last night, but I think they flip another coin.
I think it's a coin flip.
We'll see.
Zach, look, I hope I'm wrong, but I'm actually rooting for Little Rock. They're plus 850. That you get 4.5 runs at plus 250. That's a great value. Do it now. LSU
unless they got you pitching.
That's right. They could have a weak pitcher. LSU could be throwing their heater. There's a reason why that spread is 4.5. And there's a reason why you're getting 2.5 to 1 to take 4.5. So just think about that before you do it.
All right, you're pulling for the Trojans, then. Okay.
We'll hope for.
All right. Have a good day, JC. That's JC joins us on the Titan More Hotline. Take a quick timeout. Come back. Get to some more of these questions and comments and texts. You're watching and listening to PodUp Mathews in the Morning from the International Diamond Center Studios. We'll be right back.
Our premium sponsors are Campus USA Credit Union,
International Diamond Center,
Meldon Law, QC Kinetics, Dave & Buster's, UF Health Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute, JF Hayden Craft Liqueurs, Florida Cracker Kitchen, Los Linderos Tequila. Gridiron sponsors are Baker Sporting Goods, Comfort Temp, Electronics World, Florida Victorious, Gallo Car Wash, Miapa Latin Cafe, Peachland Dental, Quality Plumbing, Ruse Ogre State Farm, Silverback Concrete, 84 Lumber, Big Mills Cheesesteak, Celebrate Primary Care, Dowling Sign, Gator Bait Media, Gator Dominoes, Ironwood Golf Course, Okido America, Tropical Smoothie Cafe, UF Bookstores, Nest and Wow, MG&A Wealth Management. Watch and listen to us live on Facebook and YouTube. Listen to the podcast whenever on Apple or Google Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen to your favorite podcast. Remember to like, follow, and subscribe so you don't miss an episode. To become a sponsor, call my man Freddie at 352-284-3733.
Coach, you know what always impressed me? How you beat Florida State to win the 1996 National Championship.
And I was really impressed with your 06, 08, and 09 Gator teams.
And the way you coached Danny to the Heisman Trophy.
A lot like what you did with Tim Tebow.
You know, you won more SEC championships than you lost home games at the Swamp.
And you had plenty of super games in front of our Gator Nation.
Yeah, there really is something special about the Swamp.
I guess that's why we say about the Swamp, only the Gators get out alive.
To the Swamp and the Gators, with the best beverage served at Spur's Gridiron Grill, 100% agave Los Linderos Tequila, aged in bourbon barrels for a smoother taste.
I think you mean head beer coach, 1966 lager, a crisp, light, bodied lager for easy drinking.
Nope. Los Linderos Tequila, smooth enough to drink neat, bold enough to elevate a cocktail.
1966 lager, enjoyed on game days in the fall or whenever you need a winning cold brew.
Los Linderos Tequila.
1966 lager.
Los Linderos.
1966 lager.
Y'all stop bickering. Okay, you're both wrong anyway. The best thing Spurrier's Gridiron Grill offers are Jerry's famous chocolate chip cookies.
What's up, everyone? I'm Mike Pouncey, and this is my twin brother Marquise Pouncey, and this is Life After Football.
Let's go.
We are the owners of Tropical Distillery, and JF Hayden's is our liqueur brand. We have 5 different flavors: a mango, a lychee, an espresso, citrus, and key lime pie. We pride ourselves on not only being a Florida-made brand, but also a cocktail solution. With that being said, cheers and go Gators.
No, growing up in Gainesville, definitely different, you know, especially having the University of Florida there. It was basically like a dream of everybody's, you know, growing up to just have an opportunity to play at the University of Florida. So everybody doesn't have that, you know, the opportunity to do so. So I just feel like me being able to give back to the city that helped me, you know, become the player and the person I am today. It's like, why not just go back and give back? You just become a great person, you know, not just a great athlete or not just a great, you know, teacher or anything, just a great person in general, you know, having those attributes and those type of characteristics just help people just become better people. So that's what I'm trying to do, help the youth just become great.
Welcome back to the International Diamond Center Studios. Gallo Car Wash is locally owned by UF alum and the only car wash that provides NL opportunities to Gator athletes. Join our membership and see why Gators hate love bugs. Thanks to JC for joining us. Tomorrow we'll have Derek Jackson, the agent for DJ and AR. He's going to come on and talk about AR's free football camp he's having over there, I think at Eastside High School, somewhere over that way. I'm not sure when it is, but he'll let us know. Greg asked on YouTube, on Facebook Live, brought to you by Mel, do you know what Casey Martin is doing now? I do not. I know he coached golf at Oregon for a little bit, but I have no idea what he's doing now. That's a good question. Justin says on YouTube, brought to you by Quality Palm, rooting for the $1 million pitcher at Texas Tech. It's going to be a great matchup tonight for sure, and we'll see what happens. Injuries occur whenever and however, and it's never convenient for sprains, strains, or minor fractures. UF Health Orthocare makes it convenient for you 7 days a week, including evenings. Walk-ins are welcome. That's UF Health Orthopedics and Sports Medicine. Text on the Titan Mark text line from Jonathan. He says, Shane, what can you tell us from the UF football recruiting weekend? Unfortunately, I can't tell you anything, but we're going to get some information from some people that follow that closely here in the, this week. I believe they had a big weekend this past weekend. I think they got one coming up as well. So time will tell. Andy's question on Facebook Live, Shane, did you see that between New Balance and Fanatics, Cooper Flagg made $28 million in NIL money? Yeah, I did see that. I don't know if it's accurate, but shoot, he's the best player in America. I'm not sure what he did for those people, but maybe. But that is a lot of money. He is a heck of a football player. I mean, a basketball player for sure. Greg says Florida came in 4th for USA Today's all sports rankings. Sound fair, Shane? I think it's about right with the football program's recent descent. Well, football went to a bowl game, so that helped a little bit. And I don't know how they do the points and everything, but that's about right. Basketball obviously got you a bunch of points for winning the national title. But I think it was a really good year for all the sports, quite honestly. I think football exceeded expectation. They won 8 games. And then obviously basketball, baseball, softball, track. Track is going on right now. Swimming does their thing, gymnastics, lacrosse. I think it's been a heck of a year. Frankie says, we got one commitment from an OL, big offensive lineman out of IMG. Yeah, I saw that as well. So appreciate everybody chiming in today. We'll have more to talk about tomorrow. Have a great day. See you then. Take care.